Welcome back to Katie's Favorite Recipes. Today I'm going to be showing you all 3 great crockpot recipes that are perfect for hot summer days when you don't want to spend a lot of time cooking. The first one is super flavorful. It's called Tex-Mex Chicken, and it was probably my favorite of the 3. It is super good. The second one is French dip sandwiches in the crockpot. This one you don't have to chop. All you do is just dump and go, and it's like 3 or 4 ingredients. It was really good too. The third recipe is a hot honey garlic chicken and broccoli. With this one, it does not have to be hot. The red pepper is optional, but I think you guys are really going to like these, and I will put everything I use in the description down below, so make sure to check that out, but let's get into it. Okay, so this is the Crockpot Tex-Mex Chicken recipe. It was so good. It was our favorite. So for this recipe, I used 2 chicken breasts, 2 taco seasoning packets. I used the Taco Bell seasoning. You can use whatever kind you want. I did 2 cans of black beans. I drained those and rinsed them. I also did 1 can of whole kernel corn, and then I did half an onion, and I did half a cup of chicken broth. And we're just gonna chop everything up. This is really just the most time consuming part, is to chop it up on the sizes of how you want everything. So I just diced up my onion. If you want to leave them long, you can do that, or chop them down into bite-sized pieces. Really, you can't go wrong with how you chop your onion. So once I finish that up, I'm going to start cutting up my chicken breast. For this, you can do strips, you can do chunks, you could do chicken breast tenderloins and leave them that size. Really, it's just however you want it. For me, I did them into chunks just because I liked it in the bite-sized pieces. And we're just going to chop that up and then throw it in the crock pot. You can do more chicken or less. It really doesn't matter. You can alter any of these ingredients however you want to do it. But we're just going to start throwing everything in the crock pot now. And then once we do that, we're going to throw in our vegetables. And then we are going to start putting in our chicken broth. And then we're going to do our taco seasoning packets. And we're just going to sprinkle that over the top, and we are just going to stir this up. And then after we finish stirring it really well, make sure everything's seasoned evenly, I am actually going to go in and use some of this Kinder's Fajita Blend seasoning. You do not have to use that, but I just love this seasoning. It is so good. And then we're just going to cover that up and let it cook. And once it's almost done cooking, I am going to use 1 bunch of cilantro. And then I'm just going to chop that up and throw a bunch of it in there, like maybe 15 minutes before it's finished. Really, you could go ahead and throw it in the beginning, but I like to do it towards the end so all the flavor won't cook out. And then after that gets done, I actually throw in more at the very end of fresh cilantro. I love cilantro. You cannot have too much, in my opinion. So we're just going to stir that up. We're going to add our cheeses. I did sharp shredded cheddar cheese and mozzarella. You can do Colby Jack. Usually I do that, but I didn't have any on hand. And you can also use the taco blend cheese that's got taco seasoning in it. That would be really good. But we're just going to stir this up really well. Cover it, let the cheese melt, let the flavors blend. And you can serve it over rice. But I actually ended up putting this on a burrito, and it was super good without rice. I feel like the rice took some of the flavor. But anyways, there you are. Hope you all love it. This recipe was the fastest recipe out of these 3 that you just throw in the crock pot and you just go. You can sear your roast first, but we're in a rush, so we're not doing that. We're going to salt and pepper it. That's just a taste. It's optional. And then I'm going to use 2 envelopes of this dry onion soup mix. And we're just going to throw that in there. We're going to throw in our 2 cups of water and then our 2 cups of beef broth. And then we're just going to cook this in a crock pot until it falls apart and it shreds, about maybe 8 hours on low, 6 hours on high. And then we're just going to get our favorite bread. I'm using the sub buns. I think those are really good with this, but you can use whatever you want. I used mozzarella cheese. I also did provolone cheese. And we're just going to throw this on bread. We're going to get some of that good juice and put it in a bowl and dip our sandwiches in it. This is amazing. It does not disappoint. Enjoy! For this recipe for the sauce, I did 1/2 cup of chicken broth, 1/3 cup of honey, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, and then I salt and peppered this to taste. But you don't need a whole lot of salt because, you know, the soy sauce is pretty salty. So we're just going to mix all that together. And then I also did 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And then I did broccoli florets. I got a pretty big bag and I used about half of it. But we're just going to stir the sauce up together, and then we're going to lay our chicken thighs into the crock pot. I did speed this footage up right here a little bit, so that's why it looks so fast. But we're just going to layer those in there, and then we're going to pour the sauce over that. I also will be using cornstarch towards the end, but we'll go over that in just a minute. So we're going to pour that over there, and then I'm going to chop my broccoli into bite-sized pieces while this is cooking. I actually added my broccoli the last like 2 hours, but really you can do it in the beginning. It's not going to hurt anything. But I'm just chopping the big stems off the bottom of these, and then I'm chopping them down into bite-sized pieces. It doesn't matter what size they are, just really whatever size you want them to be. So I don't think you can have too much broccoli, honestly. So here I am putting in my cornstarch. That's about a tablespoon or 2, depending on how thick you want the sauce. And we're just going to mix that in like the last 30 minutes of cooking. If you want this to be hot, you can add your chili flakes at any time during the cooking. But I just added it to our bowl separately. But this is what it looks like finished. And I served it with mashed potatoes and biscuits, and it was super good. So I think you all will love this. I hope you all enjoy.